Hello, my name is Angela Touseull, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about Central Indiana's First Steps program. I'm an LPCC Council Coordinator for First Steps, and a little bit of background information about me. I do have a 26-year-old daughter, Alex, who has Down syndrome, so I'm happy to talk to you today about First Steps. As an overview of the First Steps program, we are covered under IDEA, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. We're actually Part C of that law. The school system is Part B of IDEA, and every state has an early intervention program. So we are federally and state funded. We're family-centered and community-based. Our therapies take place in the natural environment, which is your home or in the child's daycare. Our services are for children from birth until their 3rd birthday, children that are experiencing a delay, have a medical diagnosis such as Down syndrome, have a high probability of delay, so that might be maternal substance abuse. And we do have a cost participation associated with our program. However, 60 to 70% of our families incur no out-of-pocket expenses for services, and evaluations are provided at no cost to the family at any time. So I wanted to take a step back and just talk a little bit about brain development. The brain develops most rapidly between the ages of birth to 3, which is why early intervention is so important. At birth, brain cells are not connected and the stimulation encourages connections. And the brain of a 6-month-old child is already half its adult weight and 9/10 by age 5. So early intervention and getting those therapies is really critical in a child's development. Some developmental red flags that we look for the possibility of a child potentially needing services are maybe the child doesn't seem to hear as well as they should. Their muscle tone is stiff or floppy. We've had parents who have said, oh, my baby is so strong and he just stands all the time, but he's just so rigid, and that could be a concern. If a baby favors one side of the body over the other, if they have extreme sensitivity to sound, textures, or touch, they fail to gain weight or height, maybe they're growing well and then they fall off the growth curve, that could be a concern. If they walk on their toes constantly, maybe they began talking and then they stopped. And of course, caregiver concerns, because research has shown that if a parent has a concern, most of the time they're probably right. So just don't discount your own intuitions and your feelings. Talk to your doctor and see about getting early intervention if you have any concerns at all about your child's development. First Steps offers 14 available services. So these 4, occupational therapy, physical therapy, developmental therapy, and speech therapy, we call our big 4, and these are our most utilized services. Occupational therapy focuses on fine motor skills, such as using a fork or teaching a child how to feed themselves. Physical therapy are gross motor skills, such as learning to crawl or walk. We classify developmental therapy as kind of a teacher for toddlers. And then of course, speech therapy, which revolves around communication and increasing words and intelligibility. We also offer audiology, which is testing your child's hearing, nutrition services, and that focuses on specific nutritional needs, including assessment and development of a nutrition plan. So maybe your child just only wants to eat chicken nuggets every day. That is something that we could have a nutritionist come in and assess, and we could see if there's anything that we could do to encourage a wider array of food choices. Social work. With social work, this is done to support the family by assisting them to resolve difficulties or concerns that interfere with or prevent the child from participating fully in our early intervention services. And that could include family counseling or linking the family to resources or other services in their community. Family education. Our goal with family education is to build the family's capacity to be able to work with their child. Vision services, and this would be evaluation and assessment of the child's ability to see. Nursing services, and this is more of a consultative model. Individual interventions conducted with the child or family that support other services would be included in this. So it's not really a home health nurse, but again, more of a consultative model. Diagnostic medical services, this would be used to determine eligibility when it otherwise can't be determined. So possibly this would include using a developmental pediatrician to determine eligibility. Psychological services, and this could include parent training or counseling. Assistive technology, and this would include things like adaptation of toys. We used to cover orthotics, but we no longer do cover orthotics, and any assistive technology has to be pre-approved by the state. And then finally, transportation. And these are the costs a family must bear to participate in early intervention services. Again, this is not a very utilized service because most of our services take place in the natural environment, the home or the daycare. But maybe if we did need to access diagnostic medical services, to determine eligibility, there would be transportation involved in something like that. So that's just a quick example of the transportation aspect of our services. So again, there's 14 different services that are available through First Steps. So the whole process starts with a referral. Anyone can refer a child to First Steps, and I've listed our number 317-257-2229. You can simply call and a referral can be done over the phone, or you can access our website, which is cibaby.org, and there is a referral form there that's easy to fill out. The referral comes to the SPO, which is our systems point of entry. So you'll hear SPO referred to quite often, and that's just our main office, which is located near downtown off of Meridian. The family is then contacted and an intake meeting is set up. I encourage all families, especially those that have children with Down syndrome, to get the referral done as soon as possible, even before leaving the hospital, especially if your child has more involved medical issues where they might be in the hospital for an extended period of time. Go ahead and get the referral done because it does take time to get the process started and the paperwork done. And there are a lot of things that can be done over the phone, and we can come to the hospital to get things signed or to do whatever might need to be done ahead of time. So that way, when your child is ready to start services, we have all of that taken care of. So after the referral is done, we're going to do an evaluation and assessment. Every family is assigned a service coordinator to discuss the child's needs and determine eligibility. Our assessment team therapists are assigned to the family to go into the home to do an evaluation, and this usually takes a few hours. They use an assessment tool called the AEPS, and they also access medical records and use clinical opinion to determine eligibility for the First Steps program. For a child to qualify for services, they need to have a 25% delay in one area or a 20% delay in two areas. After it's determined that the child is eligible for First Steps, we're going to develop an IFSP, which is an individualized family support plan. So this is similar to the IEP through the school system, which is the individualized education plan, but ours is called an IFSP. So this involves a team meeting where we'll discuss a family's goals and concerns. We'll determine therapy outcomes, the location of where the therapies will take place, and then we'll already start talking about transition. We talk about that really throughout the process, and not only transition into the program, but also transition out of the program, because we want that to be as smooth as possible. And again, therapies for First Steps take place in the natural environment, which is the child's home or daycare typically. Service coordination is set up, and a service coordinator is really an ongoing case manager. They coordinate all agencies involved, and they assist the family with red tape. The service coordinator helps the family navigate the system, and they assist with transitioning into the public school system. So they're the ones that you would call if you have any questions, and they'll be in contact throughout the time the child is in First Steps. This map shows how the First Steps system is laid out in Indiana. So our counties are grouped together with neighboring counties to share and maximize resources. There is a SPO in each cluster, and there's actually 9 total clusters across the state. For Central Indiana, we are in Cluster G, and that includes Hamilton, Hendricks, Johnson, Marion, Morgan, and Tipton counties. If you are located in another county across the state, you can call really any cluster, and we'll get you connected to the appropriate cluster for your home. So the number that I listed is really good for the whole state, but you can access this cluster map online as well. So I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about life after First Steps, because just as a reminder, our program goes up until the child's 3rd birthday, and transition out of First Steps begins 180 to 90 days prior to the child's 3rd birthday. So preparation for transitioning out of First Steps will include participating in a transition meeting to discuss options outside of First Steps. It will include additional evaluations. It will include sharing information with preschools to determine the services your child will need, if any, once they leave First Steps. And then other activities designed to prepare you for life after First Steps. So that might include things such as touring the school that your child would be going to. I highly recommend that parents access resources to help with this transition. Some that I recommend are InSource, which is www.insource.org, and also About Special Kids, which is aboutspecialkids.org. Both of those are great places to get good information about the school system to help prepare you for that first IEP. And just as a reminder, you can bring anyone you want to your case conference. It's good to let the school system know so that they're prepared, but you can bring supports with you to that IEP. And just be prepared. Request copies of the evaluation before the case conference so you have time to digest it and really know where your child is developmentally. Remember, you're your child's best advocate, and you're an equal partner in the process. So don't discount your own knowledge about your child. That first IEP especially can be really intimidating. You're walking into a room full of people that you probably haven't met before, and each one has their own specialized responsibility towards ensuring your child's success within the school system. So it can be intimidating. As I said before, I have an adult now with Down syndrome, and the best thing that I ever did was really just to connect with other parents that had children with Down syndrome, especially parents that were maybe just slightly ahead of me in the process, and really pick their brain and find out what they did that they felt was really successful, or what they wish they hadn't done. And that's really great information to have as you're throughout the process of, even in first steps and with the school system, medical issues, whatever it is. I think getting information from other parents is really a great thing to do. And I listed this picture, but just because First Steps is so awesome, and I don't want to make it sound like the school system is horrible, but sometimes it's hard to leave a program that you really like. And so I thought that picture was really cute. So some differences between First Steps and the school system is, with First Steps, our therapies take place in the child's home or daycare. With the school system, the therapies will take place at school. And these therapies could be individual, they could be integrated into the classroom, or they could be group-based. So make sure you really understand the intricacies of the therapies on the IEP. With First Steps, you're always present with your child when they're getting their therapies. With the school system, again, the therapies take place at the school, so that's on site, and the parents aren't in place during the therapies. Another really big thing is transportation. When your child starts with the school system, they'll be eligible for transportation with a school bus. The school bus will pull up to your front door, so you don't have to go to the corner to wait for the bus to come, which you'll really love when it's 10 degrees out and it's time to go to school. So that's a really good thing. And transportation will be one thing that is discussed during the IEP, so that you feel comfortable with it and they know your child and can be prepared. The drivers, the school bus drivers for the early intervention program, for the most part, are amazing and have been there for many years, and they love doing that segment of the school students because it's in their heart. So there usually is also an aide on the bus to help as well. So it's really safe. They've been doing it for many years and have it down to a science. Some other differences with First Steps versus the school system is, again, First Steps has a sliding fee scale, as I mentioned before. Services through the school system are taxpayer funded. There might be supply fees or things like that, but there's no cost to the family for services at the school with the school system, other than some incidentals, because it is taxpayer funded. Also, another difference is First Steps focuses on developmental needs, while the school system focuses on educational needs. So really the best example I can come up with for this is when we were going through the process, we wanted our daughter to learn to ride a tricycle, and we wanted that to be a goal on her IEP. But riding a tricycle is not educational in nature, so we weren't able to get that added to her IEP as a goal. Whereas with First Steps, that would be something that would be considered as a goal if it were appropriate at the time. One last thing is the school system will provide services from age 3 until a child turns 22, which is included in IDEA. Other resources I wanted to mention with First Steps is we have Spanish-speaking service providers. We have materials in Spanish, and we have interpreters available. Our LPCC, which is our Local Planning and Coordinating Council, has participation open to families. We value and welcome families. We need your input and would love to have more voices from families on our LPCC to help us to continue to enhance and improve our program. I've listed our website, which is cibaby.com, and you can find more information, more in-depth information about our program there, as well as the First Steps state site. The website for that is listed there as well. Again, here's my name, Angela Touseull, and my contact information. Feel free to reach out at any time. I'm happy to help parents that have questions, especially those that have children with Down syndrome. That's my specialty, I guess. And so that's all the information I have for you today. Thank you for taking time to learn more about First Steps. And again, don't hesitate to reach out if I can answer any additional questions. Thank you.